Welcome back to Red Hawk Media. Today, we're looking to add some functionality to our 2D platform game. We'd like to add on a health system, and to give you an idea of what that looks like, we have our character at this point, and I dropped him right into the middle of the scene here. And our character can interact with the saw blades, and you can see that he takes damage. And the health actually responds to that, a certain number of frames at a time. And then what we can do also at the end of all this, when we tie it all together, is we can add in a restore health or a power up, and then he's back to full health. And that adds a whole bunch of functionality, because now, if I can't make it through these saw blades, of course, it leads to the death screen. And that's what we're working up to here. So let's go ahead and get started. To follow along with today's tutorial, you're going to need some assets from GameArt2D. So we're going to head over there, and GameArt2D.com. That's where we got most of our sprites from. That's where we got our tile sets and everything. And now we're again going back to the freebies tab, because they have a lot of pretty slick stuff that you can customize. That's pre-made for you, and it saves you a whole bunch of work. So the free game GUI is what we're looking at, and the one with the bubblegum colors here is what we're looking at. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to download this, and then you're going to need it to add into your assets. So I've already downloaded this. So if we take a look here, we've got the folder, and I'm just going to open that up. And we're really only interested in the PNGs right now. So I'm going in here. Again, this is the free GUI from GameArt2D.com. Now the background I could take or leave. I'm not sure. I could use this on the death screen or a menu or something like that. It's not really going to fit the style of my game, so it's up to you. Then after that, we've got a bunch of buttons. Now you'll notice that this is a sprite sheet, so it's multiple sprites on the sheet, and we'll have to slice those apart, and I'll show what that process looks like here too. And then that's a quick one. Here's the one that we're looking at, because down here you'll see that it's got a lot of little panels that you could use to set up your health system. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with that process. I'm going to go back over to Unity, and I'm going to assume that you know how to import these into your folder. If not, it's pretty simple. Just head to your sprites, excuse me. And then what I would do is I would create a new folder called GUI. So to do that, right click in the space here, and then you can create, and then you can create that new folder. Okay, once you've got your folder created and you've named it GUI or UI, then you're going to drag in the two sprite sheets that we're going to be using here. And I'm going to drag those in because I've already sliced up the two that I've got here. And I'm just going to come over like this and bring up the two. And let's bring in the window one like so. And that's going to import into there. Now, the window one, what we would want to do here, if you don't like the sprites as is, like the color scheme and that, there's a simple way that we can go about changing these up so that they've got slightly different color schema and it fits a little bit better into your game. What we can do is we can right click on this, and this is going back to our idle crack tutorial where I showed you how to like customize the sprites a little bit. And what we want to do is we want to reveal this in Finder so we can get to the actual folder, or the actual folder that contains the actual file. And now at this point, what I want to do is I want to take this as is and drag it right into Photoshop here. Once in Photoshop, there is a really slick way with just a couple clicks that we can change all of these at once and create a whole new pattern of tiles that we're working with for our sprites. And that's what I wanted to show you here. Easiest way to do this is down in the bottom here with your adjustment layers. And let me take this up to full screen here. Give me a second. All right, there we go. Now, down here, you've got your adjustments that you can add on. We're going to click on that, and we're going to add on what is called a gradient map. And it's the second from the bottom in the list. Okay, and I'm going to add on a gradient map. And now, to begin with, don't worry. The original gradient, or the default gradient that shows up, is this transparent to white one. We're going to just click into that space there, and it brings up our gradient editor. And I'll keep this off to the side so you can see what's happening here. Now, by default, you're going to have the first two rows here, and that's about all that you're going to have for options. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to click on the little gear, and then you're going to want to go into the photographic toning. Once you get into the photographic toning, what you can do is you can append your choices that you have. So you go ahead and click append. I've already done this, so I'm going to just cancel out of this. Okay, and now you'll see all of these different gradients that are added on here. And this is the slick part. I can click on any of those gradients, and instantaneously I can change the entire color scheme of what's going on here. I want to add in a little bit more of a gold or sepia color here. And then basically go through here to find one that has most of what you're looking for. Now, if you want to capture some of the colors from the game itself that you've been putting together, or from your character, you might go down here and you might grab one of these colors, and then you might just tweak it a little bit here, and now we've got a whole different look. Okay, so let's say this is what I was going for here. This is what I like for the colors. What I can do is I can go ahead and click OK. And now at this point, I just need to resave this as the window PNG. So I can do a save as here. And I'm going to switch this up so it's a PNG. Alright, and then I can give this a name here. And I'm just going to call this window blue because we added all the blue colors to it. You can name yours whatever you want. And then the big thing is to make sure that it saves back to the original folder that it came from, because then it will automatically show up in your assets so that you can use it inside of Unity. So I'm going to go ahead and click save here at this point, and it is a PNG, double check that, and save. Now I'll click OK, and let's return back over to Unity, and it'll take a minute just to show up here into my GUI folder. Now once that's shown up into your assets folder here, and sometimes it takes a little while for it to kick in because we're dealing with an entire sprite sheet here. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to cut this apart. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and click on here. Okay, and right now in my inspector it's saying that it's a Sprite 2D UI, and it's saying that it's a single sprite. Now this is a sprite sheet, so we need to switch this up so that it says multiple, because we got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. And then we're going to go ahead and apply that. After we've applied that setting, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Sprite Editor. Now the Sprite Editor is going to open up its own separate window here, and I'm just going to kind of expand this so we can see what's going on. Put this dead center. Here's our sprite sheet. It's got all of the sprites in it, and we could manually go through and cut these out individually, but these are pretty normal shaped sprites. Most of them are rectangular base, so it's going to be really easy for the automatic to trim around it. So I'm going to go up to Slice, and I'm going to make sure it's on automatic, pivot at the center, delete the existing, and then I'm going to click Slice. Now once it's done with this process, it's actually sliced all of them. What I want to do is I want to apply that. So I go ahead and click apply, and sometimes this takes a little bit here. So it goes through, it processes everything into individual sprites. Once that's back to being grayed out, I can go ahead and close my sprite editor, and I can go back, and now you'll notice that I have this little arrow next to the window. So if I click on that arrow, it'll drop it down, and it'll show all the individual sprites that are actually in here. Okay, and we're going to be using some of these today. So like you notice that I had the health thing going on there on the main stage, and then I have the overall background for the health bar. Okay, and that's the next part that we're looking at here. What I'd like to do is I'd like to break this up into two parts. So this first part was all about just customizing your sprite sheet and getting that prepped and cut up. And then the second part, what we'll be doing is we'll be adding this into the player health system, and we'll actually get the slider working the way that it's supposed to, and we'll look at all of those details. Okay? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Red Hawk Media.